Welcome to our systems thinking video centered upon the creation of the Army Combat Uniform. In this video, we will discuss the systems behind the creation of the ACU along with a brief history of its evolution and our personal opinion on whether this system is a success or a failure. We deem the Army Combat Uniform as a success due to its ability to adapt quickly to changing operational areas in the Army, general support from the country in regards to financing the Army, and its creation of a professional image of the U.S. Armed Forces.
Breaking this system down into the DSRP model, we see that it contains all the necessary attributes a successful system has. For distinction, it has a uniform meant for combat, not a uniform for dress or for mess. It is part of the current Army Regulations uniform model and has multiple subsystems. The actions that take place are the manufacturing, selling, and distribution, whereas the reactions are the buying, use, and uniformity among the soldiers and the Army. The point and perspective can be seen by either the soldier, manufacturer, or seller, and the view can range from the wear of the uniform to the processes of manufacturing and selling the uniform. Here we can see the current issued standard operational camouflage pattern Army Combat Uniform and can see the separate parts within the uniform, from the boots to the blouse. Its classification is physical because we can touch it, non-living because it does not adapt by itself, and is man-made because it requires human labor to create it.
The visibility is seen through many lenses. Just three are shown here. The manufacturers with a white box, soldiers with a gray box, and civilians with a black box. This delves deeper into what this means. Inputs and outputs are the same for each, but the internal processes change from a thorough understanding with the manufacturers and workers to almost an unknowledgeable understanding about the creation of the ACU with civilians. We now delve into our meta map representation of the Army Combat Uniform. Here we can see the distinctions between the ACU and other Army uniforms, along with the subsystems and relationships within the ACU. For materials, we see the elements of fabric, leather, velcro, plastic, thread, and metal all sharing a relationship with each other to create the final product.
Within the manufacturing subsystem, we see the transitional relationship to the materials along with the subsystems of workers, distribution, and material suppliers and sellers, each with their own perspective on this process. Manufacturing then shares a transitional relationship with selling, shown here. Within the selling subsystem, the elements of the PX workers, sales, and distribution all have individual perspectives on the process of selling, which leads to the procurement relationship of the usage subsystem.
The usage subsystem has its own elements, ranging from area of involvement based on climate and terrain, branch, and rules and regulations. It also, however, shares a relationship with the soldier, who also has a perspective on the uniform. Both usage and the soldier then have their own relationship with the design subsystem. Within the design subsystem, we find the elements of Army officials' recommendations, finances, and analysis.
Delving now into the system's arrangement of the Army Combat Uniform, we can see the meta-system being the Army Uniform. We start with the system of the Army Service Uniform, which is broken down into the subsystems of materials, including the elements of fabric, metal, leather, and plastic, the manufacturer, including elements of a facility, equipment, finances, and material attainment, workers, including the elements of sewers, designers, managers, and assemble, and sellers, including the elements of employees, distribution, cashiers, and managers.
We now move on to the Army Combat Uniform System. Within this system, we see the parts subsystems being broken down into blouse, pants, patrol cap, and boots, each within their own elements shown here. The APFU subsystem is shown now with the very similar subsystems and elements as the ACU, as long as mess dress uniform subsystem containing identical subsystems and elements.
Transitioning to the system boundary diagram of the Army Combat Uniform creation, we can see the inputs of material, money, labor, decision, and environment, and the outputs of a uniform, uniformity, soldier wear, army image, and soldier content. With the systems, each of the subsystems shown in the meta map diagram are represented, along with their own relationships that lead to the scene outputs. The internal feedback of the system is based upon the maintenance of the uniform, safety regulations, wear and tear of the uniform, and the necessity of more or less needing to be provided. Externally, we see that the changing environment, soldier opinions, civilian government financing opinions, economy, and adapting enemy can change the system.
Ultimately, we can look back upon the evolution within the system ranging from the 1960s to present. The uniform has been adaptable to every war we fought and continues to evolve due to the quick manufacturing and selling due to the internal and external factors. For example, the new nanomech contract that is introducing a shield against diseases such as malaria and Zika, and also to provide better flame protection for soldiers. Innovations occurred to the ACU because of new technology and fabric, but mainly due to the change in who we are fighting with and who we are fighting against, and the Army's budget to supply this change. These are sources to the articles and the images we use throughout this presentation.
This concludes our presentation of the Army Combat Uniform Systems creation. We hope you enjoyed our video.